Welcome to Cineights, where you get to know the best movies and series. Today's video is about top 10 best pirate movies ever made. Be sure to watch until the end. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. The Princess Bride, 1987, regarded as one of the greatest fantasy comedies of all time. The Princess Bride is an incredibly entertaining fairy tale flick. In the film, the protagonist, Wesley, sets out on an adventurous journey to rescue the love of his life, Princess Buttercup, from the feared dread pirate Roberts, who is notorious for his utter disregard for human life. Overall, the film is a fun ride, and has an endearing tone that keeps you glued to it throughout. The way it blends romance, comedy, and fantasy is remarkable. And above all, it's the treatment that director Rob Reiner gives to the story that turns it into a unique cinematic experience. Because quite frankly, such a story, which certainly seems cliched on paper, could have gone horribly wrong with an ordinary approach. Princess Bride is without a doubt, in my opinion, one of the better films of the 80s and one of Rob Reiner's best works that deserves more love. Pirates, 1986. Perhaps what went wrong here was Polanski's approach to the genre. The vision here is unclear, and it feels like Polanski got lost in his own ambition. It sure could have been a fantastic movie at the hands of a more experienced action movie director. It just wasn't Polanski's zone. A peg-legged pirate with an eye on the prized golden Aztec throne, along with his faithful first mate who's in love with a beautiful dame. Titled Pirates, with director Roman Polanski at the helm, the general consensus of this would have been a blockbuster, isn't it? Turning out to be one of the biggest duds of all time. Starring Walter Matthau as Captain Red, Pirates was globally panned by the audiences. One of the rarest of Polanski's failures, the only saving grace of this movie was its spectacular score in the galleon Neptune, which is currently on display at the docks of Genoa, Italy. Over the years, this movie has garnered a cult following for its wry humor and weird take on pirates. The Buccaneer, 1958. In a highly fictionalized version of the War of 1812, General Andrew Jackson prepares his meager group of men to defend New Orleans against the mighty Britishers. While his team of 1,200 soldiers are most likely to fall short against 16,000 British soldiers, the outcome of the war is to be decided by the last buccaneer of his time, the pirate Jean Lafitte. Hated by the ruling government and loved by the masses, his heart bleeds for America. To save the beloved motherland, an uncomfortable alliance is formed between the general and the pirate. Starring Yul Brynner, this was a remake of the movie of the same name, earlier released in 1938 and directed by the great Cecil B. DeMille. Peter Pan, 2003. No discussion of pirates can continue without the mention of the boy who wouldn't grow up and his archenemy, the nefarious Captain Hook. Based on J.M. Barrie's famous play, Peter Pan is a story of a boy and his adventures in Neverland. Although the basic premise of the story revolves around Peter Pan, it's the murderous one-handed Captain Hook who steals the show. Hook despises Peter for having one of his hands cut off and fed to the crocodile, and thus looks for every opportunity to bump him off. Jason Isaacs, before he became Lucius Malfoy, played Captain Hook in this epic fantasy film. Crimson Pirate, 1952. Growing up, we all read Robert Louis Stevenson's masterpiece and were in awe of the one-legged crook, known as Long John Silver. Armed with a talking parrot as a sidekick, Long John Silver is one of the most cunning and wicked pirates ever. While Long John has his eye set on the lost treasure, the question that has always intrigued the readers as well as the viewers is the dynamics between him and Jim Hawkins. Though he uses the boy as a pawn in his scheme of things, he seems to have a soft corner for him. Nevertheless, Treasure Island is one of the greatest pirate movies of all time and is immensely watchable. Treasure Island, 1950. Before Burt Lancaster dabbled into serious roles, he used his acrobatic skills in The Crimson Pirate to play a feisty, swashbuckling pirate, Captain Ballo. Crimson Pirate is a feel-good story of a do-gooder pirate who rallies behind the people of Cobra Island to defeat their common enemy. While the pirates featured in the movie are typically old school, believing in pillaging, the film is fun to watch, with them engaging in acrobatics and acts of buffoonery. The Goonies, 1985. In the quest of a lost treasure of pirate One-Eyed Willie, a group of children who call themselves the Goonies set out for an adventure of a lifetime. Well, technically this is not a pirate movie per se, but the storyline and the way the Goonies and the evil Fratellis confront each other is reminiscent of the classic pirate movies. Towards the end of the movie, the Fratellis even make the Goonies to walk the plank. Full of treasure, booby traps, skeletons and hidden pirate ships, The Goonies is a must-watch for suckers of adventure movies. Captain Blood, 1935. Loosely based on the novel by Raphael Sabatini, this movie brought Errol Flynn into limelight and established him as a star in Hollywood. The physician Peter Blood gets arrested for treating rebels and is deported as a slave to the Caribbean. Escaping from the clutches of the English, he leads a group of sailors to become pirates, taking the name Captain Blood. The battered, bruised yet unbroken image of a good man wronged by the system was deeply appreciated by the audience. The movie was a blockbuster and became a milestone for Warner Brothers. Captain Phillips, 2013, one of the rarest mainstream movies of recent times to have focused on the growing menace of the Somalian pirates in the Indian Ocean. Captain Phillips is a riveting watch. Based on the real-life incident of the hijacking of Marsk, Alabama in 2009 by Somali pirates who end up taking the captain hostage, played brilliantly by Tom Hanks, the film gives a real-time peek at the ordeal faced by the crew and the perilous lives of sailors in difficult situations. After its release, controversy erupted as the real-life crew members questioned its authenticity. But all said and done, it retains itself as a brilliantly made thriller. It received 6 Academy Award nominations including Best Picture. Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl, 2003. Finally, we bring you the crown prince of the pirates, Captain Jack Sparrow. He's quirky, flamboyant and has flair. He often gets into trouble but soon gets out of them using his unmatchable wit. And boy, who else has that weird vocabulary? After Cutthroat Island became a major dud, there was a long lull in Hollywood before anyone tried making pirate movies. And then, Pirates of the Caribbean happened. Rich amalgamation of fantasy, swashbuckling heroes, horror and comedy of errors, it went on to become one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. For that, a huge credit goes to Johnny Depp for playing Captain Jack Sparrow so spectacularly. Also starring Jeffrey Rush, Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, it became a major franchise, churning out sequels and spin-offs.